I originally recorded this on a very high-end camera, but the video file for 30 minutes was 30 gigabytes, so I couldn't fucking edit it. So this is now being recorded on my iPad, which is for some reason like 420 bits. And I am going to try to explain to you what's going on here. So this is a video because I found an FBI document. I found an FBI document by Googling about UFOs, because I was talking to somebody about UFOs and he was like, oh, I heard about this crazy story about in Brazil that they're drilling into people and stealing their organs. And I was like, whoa, that sounds very different from the anal probes we got over here. So I did a Google search, and apparently there have been similar things going on over here in the States, according to the FBI in the 70s. And so I was like, oh, well, nobody's talking about this. Let's make a video about this. But you know what? Instead of just talking about it, I'm going to read it to you exactly word for word from the FBI. Video series, maybe. We'll see how this one does. If anybody's interested, then maybe I'll do a part 2 if I also find the part 2 document, because there's supposed to be 5. So this is part 1 of 5. And so this is part 1. It's about UFO. Well, no, who knows if it's UFOs? They're calling them helicopters, helicopter sightings. My theory, and I'll probably edit this to the end, so well, I'll just start now, and then stay tuned for what I think is going on, because I don't think it's UFOs. I think it's something else. Stay tuned. Federal Bureau of Investigation Enclosure cover sheet. Animal cattle mutilation is the subject. Cross references. There's 32 pages reviewed for this release, but you should note that only 19 of them is in this PDF. Not sure what happened to the other pages. I don't know if they're split up into another PDF document, but this is all that's in here. Okay, so anyway, we're going on. Now this page, a lot of these pages are covered with handwriting, with signatures that I assume are like sign-offs, like I've reviewed it, I've signed off on this. But some of them have some interesting things, and I'll comment on them as we get to them. So this is dated September 10th, 1974, to the Honorable Carl T. Curtis, United States Senate, Washington, D.C. Dear Senator Curtis, this is to acknowledge receipt of your letter of September 4th with enclosure concerning the recent maiming and killing of cattle in several Nebraska communities. On August 23rd, I answered your letter of August 21st and indicated, and by the way, that's 2 days before, and indicated, so it took them 2 days to respond, and indicated I was having a representative of our Omaha office contact Mr. George Hitchcock? George? I don't know. It's hard to read that word. It's blocky. Anyway, of Stewart, Nebraska, to determine whether the facts constituted a possible violation of law within the investigative jurisdiction of the FBI. I have just received a communication from our Omaha office which sets forth the results of interviews with Mr. Hitchcock and Charles Fox, Sheriff of Holt County, Nebraska. Based on the information furnished by those individuals, it appears that no federal law within the investigative jurisdiction of the FBI has been violated. Something here, there is no indication of interstate transportation of the maimed or killed animals. I am informed that this matter is currently under investigation by the Nebraska State Patrol and law enforcement officers in the counties involved. Sincerely yours, C.M. Kelly, Clarence M. Kelly, Director of the FBI. So they're saying, like, we're not going to get involved. United States Senate, dated September 4th, 1974, to Mr. Clarence M. Kelly. This is Curtis responding to Mr. Kelly. He's saying, this will refer to my previous letter of August 21st to you regarding the series of incidents stretching from Oklahoma to Nebraska in which cattle have been dismembered in some kind of strange witchcraft cult. Enclosed is a newspaper article which appeared in the Hastings, Nebraska Daily Tribune concerning these weird events. Articles similar to this one have appeared in many of the Nebraska newspapers. I thought you would want to see this article in order to substantiate the claims which have been made. I am wondering if your good offices have instigated an investigation into this situation either in Nebraska or any of the other states experiencing similar acts of mutilation to livestock. I will appreciate hearing from you. Thanking you, I am. And that's the senator responding to the FBI. Notice, the weird notes off to the sides in the margins. I don't know why somebody wrote evil in cursive. I don't know what that's about. I'm guessing I don't know if somebody in which office, if it's the senator's office or the FBI's office. Then there's the newspaper article, mutilated livestock, helicopters. The mutilated, I'm not going to read the whole entire news article, but essentially this was the fifth animal killed in the Madison County, and that there was sightings of a helicopter. At least that's what they reported. Who knows what they saw up there? It's sort of implying UFOs in the second part of the article. And back to the letters. Subject: mutilations of animals, Minnesota, North and South Dakota, research matter. Miscellaneous non-subversive. Why is it categorized as miscellaneous non-subversive? That's interesting. And then it says, for the information of the Bureau, animals, mostly livestock, have been reported as mutilated in the 3-state area of this division and parts of their bodies missing. The parts listed as missing have been the sexual organs, ears, lips, and udders, and in some instances, the blood from the animals was considered completely drained. No evidence of value was ever located at the scene. State veterinarians, after examination of mutilated animal carcasses, contend dead animals were eaten by other animals or vermits, believed to be foxes due to their sharp side teeth, which was described as shearing teeth like scissors. The Bureau is requested to furnish the Minneapolis Division with any supporting information to the above the comments made by state veterinarians, or, if already contacted by other law enforcement agencies, the results of their investigations or your laboratory results of evidence previously submitted in similar cases. Enclosed is Xerox clipping of comments made by Richard Hild, Chief Agent, North Dakota Crime Bureau, Bismarck. So they're saying it's probably foxes because of the teeth. And mutilation of animals. This is like page 2. References Minneapolis Airtel dated January 21st, 1975. The circumstances set forth in referenced Airtel were discussed with Dr. Don Wilson, Chief Mammalogy Section, U.S. Fish and Wildlife Services, Washington, D.C. Dr. Wilson said that the circumstances set forth in referenced Airtel are consistent with natural phenomena. According to Dr. Wilson, when small animals such as foxes and opossums feed on the carcasses of large mammals such as cattle that have not decayed, they first feed on soft tissues such as the nose, lips, udders, and genital areas. He said that it has been frequently observed that the genital area is most often first soft tissue to be attacked. Weird that they pinpointed that, whatever. Dr. Wilson had no information concerning the specific appearances of tissue bitten by foxes. So he didn't look at that last sentence implies that he didn't look at the actual, photos of the carcasses, but he's just saying, hey, they're known to eat those parts. Then there's some news articles. Official says mutilations, blah, blah, blah. Answer may have been found. They're reporting that it's probably the animals. Back to the letters. Attention External Affairs. This is to the director of the FBI. Now, this is the senator responding again. Enclosed herewith, and this is dated August 29th, 1975. Enclosed herewith is a copy of an editorial appearing in the Denver Post, September 3rd, 1975, relating to Senator Floyd K. Haskell, his request that the FBI enter captioned investigation. On the morning of September 4th, 1975, Senator Donald J. Sebesta, media relations representative, and I visited with the editorial staff of the Denver Post concerning the article. We met with Charles R. Buxton, executive vice president, editor, and publisher, Robert Patridge, editor of the editorial page, and Lee Olson, editorial page writer and writer of enclosed article, and explained to them the manner in which this bureau enters investigations, stressing the point that unless the FBI has investigative jurisdiction under federal statute, we cannot enter any investigation. Oh, this is the FBI talking again. It was pointed out to these individuals that if the FBI were to enter an investigation merely because someone felt we should, we would soon be categorized as a national police force. They're making excuses as to why they can't investigate. The limitations placed on the Bureau by Congress and the Department of Justice are well defined, and it was pointed out that the FBI would always operate within the scope of its investigative jurisdiction and departmental guidelines. These individuals were most receptive to the visit, indicating that they had a utter understanding of the FBI's jurisdiction as a result of this meeting, and expressed sincere appreciation for the visit from this office. It is believed that this meeting was extremely beneficial both to the representative of the Denver Post and to this office, since it gave me a good reason not only to meet them personally but to discuss matters of mutual interest. At the conclusion of this meeting, an invitation was extended to these individuals to visit the Denver FBI office at any time, which they readily accepted. The above is being submitted for the information of the Bureau, since it appears there will continue to be press interest in Senator Haskell's request that the FBI enter in a livestock mutilation case. So the newspaper article is asking for an investigation, and so the FBI showed up and we were like, it's not a thing to worry about. And this report is just saying, like, we're putting it to rest. Then there's another article, or is this the article that they're talking about? Cattle deaths. Let's see here. Is this Denver Post? Yeah, this is the article that they're talking about, the Denver Post, dated September 3rd, 1975. It's very short, but it's basically like, it's worded in a very frustrated fashion, and I thought this one was interesting, so I might read this one. If the FBI will not enter the investigation of the mysterious livestock deaths in Colorado and some adjacent states, that Senator Floyd Haskell from Colorado should take the matter to Congress for resolution. The incidents are too widespread. This is interesting too, because I think this is like this is a segment of an article, and the lines on the sides of the paragraphs indicate that that was like selected out. Anyway, the incidents are too widespread and potentially too dangerous to public order to ignore. Narrow interpretations of what the FBI's role is via state authority are not adequate to the need. There's already federal involvement. Consider this. Because of the gun-happy frame of mind developing in eastern Colorado, where most of the incidents have been occurring, the U.S. Bureau of Land Management, BLM, has had to cancel a helicopter inventory of its lands in 6 counties. BLM officials are simply afraid their helicopters might be shot down by ranchers and others frightened by cattle deaths. If that isn't a reason for federal involvement, we don't know what is. And the question of which federal agency investigates isn't as important as the need to bring a focus to on the incidents that is broader than the jurisdiction of one state. Killings and mutilations of livestock have been occurring in Wyoming, Nebraska, Kansas, and elsewhere, not just in Colorado. If there is a pattern to the incidents, it would seem that the broadest possible study of them is indicated. In any case, Senator Haskell should keep the pressure on the FBI. It has manpower and a wide range of investigatory tools. And if the FBI resists successfully, the senator should go to Congress to get the sort of attention these alarming incidents deserve. So he's saying it's happening in multiple states. And this is to Mr. Adams from R.J. Gallagher. In response to the telephone call from Honorable Floyd K. Haskell, United States Senator from Colorado, to the director, September 11th, 1975, I contacted Senator Haskell telephonically today, September 12th, 75. Senator Haskell indicated his concern for a situation occurring in the western states where cattle have been discovered mutilated. The bizarre mutilations involve loss of left ear, left eye, sex organ, and the blood drained from the carcass with no traces of blood left on the ground and no footprints. Senator Haskell repeated his request that the FBI enter the investigation. The provisions of the Interstate Transportation of Stolen Cattle Statute, Title 18 U.S. Code, Section 2311, were explained to him. It was pointed out that there must be an interstate transportation. Senator Haskell said that he had no information that an interstate transportation had occurred in any of these cases. He said he felt this was too big for the local authorities and the FBI with its resources could come to a solution. He said the ranchers are getting considerably worried out there, and he felt if the FBI would just enter the investigation, it would have a deterrent effect. Our jurisdiction was explained to Senator Haskell, and he said that he understood that our statutory limitations and inquired as to whether a resolution would give us the necessary investigative jurisdiction. Senator Haskell was advised that it probably would take a law, whereupon he asked if there were anyone that he could discuss this matter with. He was referred to Criminal Division of the Department of Justice. Senator Haskell thanked me for calling him and stated he understood that he wished there was something we could do. This is a report saying that they were contacted, the FBI was contacted, and that he asked for help, and his reasoning being that it's going across state lines, so it's in the FBI's jurisdiction, not a single state's. And here they're saying, well, let's go tell them to make a law about it because it's none of our business. Senator Haskell recontacted me. He reached out again this afternoon and said that he had received a call from Dean Edwards, editor of the paper in Brush, Colorado, who furnished information with U.S. Army helicopters and had been seen in the vicinity of where some of the cattle were mutilated, and that he, Edwards, had been threatened, but Senator Haskell did not know what sort of threats Edwards had received or by whom. So he had been threatened by people in helicopters, in Army helicopters. He was advised that this information would be furnished to our Denver office and that Denver would closely follow the situation. Senator Haskell expressed his appreciation. As much as Senator Haskell stated he might call the Criminal Division of the Department of Justice, John Keeney, Deputy Assistant Attorney General, Criminal Division, was telephonically advised of my contact with Senator Haskell, and he was furnished background information concerning the situation. The above information was also furnished to Senator Jim Bristol, or S.A. Jim Bristol. I don't know if that's S.A. is Senator or what. S.A. Senior something. Jim Bristol, Denver office. Bristol was instructed to have Mr. Edwards contacted concerning the alleged threats that he had received. Action for information. So then we get a letter to the Honorable Floyd K. Haskell. Dear Senator Haskell, your letter of August 29th to Special Agent in Charge Theodore P. Rosak has been forwarded to my office, and I deeply appreciate the sincere concern expressed by you and your constituents. The information set forth in your letter regarding the mutilation of cattle in Colorado and several other western states and the reported use of an unidentified helicopter by those individuals responsible has been carefully reviewed. I regret to inform you that these actions do not constitute a violation of federal law coming within the FBI's investigative jurisdiction. I am sorry that I cannot give you a more favorable response, and I hope the investigation currently being conducted by local law enforcement agencies regarding this matter will soon be successfully concluded. Sincerely yours, Clarence M. Kelly, Director. So then we get an airmail via Airtel to Director FBI from from SAC Denver, and then it's also labeled miscellaneous non-subversive. Mutilation of livestock, State of Colorado, information concerning. Enclosed herewith is the original of a letter from U.S. Senator Floyd K. Haskell, which was personally handed to me this state relating to incidents involving mutilation of cattle and other livestock in Colorado. Senator Haskell indicates that 130 such cases have been reported to local officials. He makes the reference to the fact that such mutilation has occurred during the past 2 years in 9 states. In his communication, Senator Haskell requests that the FBI enter the investigations being conducted in order to provide unified direction to the overall matter of such mutilations. I indicated to Senator Haskell that his request would be furnished to FBI headquarters, Washington, D.C., and that he would receive a reply pertaining to his request. I also pointed out to the senator that, as he well knew, before the FBI can enter any case, we must have investigative jurisdiction provided primarily by statute, by law. I pointed out that this
that in this instance I was not aware of any statute which would provide for jurisdiction in this matter. On this date, I personally contacted the United States Attorney James L. Treese, District of Colorado, discussed Senator Haskell's letter with him, and he concurred with my comments to Senator Haskell. In connection with furnishing me this letter, Senator Haskell in advance has released a statement to the press indicating that he was asking the FBI to enter the investigation. Several inquiries have been received, and I have indicated to the news media that the senator's letter was being referred to FBI headquarters in Washington and that his request would be resolved. Upon being pressed, I indicated that I, personally, knew of no legislation specifically covering the mutilation of livestock, which would enable the FBI to enter such an investigation. The above is being furnished to the Bureau for information for an official reply to Senator Haskell's request. Senator Haskell indicated that he is returning to Washington, D.C. in connection with the reconvening of the Senate session. And then dated August 29th, 1975, Theodore P. Rozick, Special Agent in charge of the Denver Federal Building, writes, or he is being written to, Dear Mr. Rozick, For several months, my office has been receiving reports of cattle mutilations throughout Colorado and other western states. At least 130 cases in Colorado alone have been reported to local officials and the Colorado Bureau of Investigation. The CBI has verified that the incidents have occurred for the last 2 years in 9 states. The ranchers and rural residents of Colorado are concerned and frightened by these incidents. The bizarre mutilations are frightening in themselves. In virtually all the cases, the left ear, left eye, rectum, and sex organ of each animal has been cut away and the blood drained from the carcass, but with no traces of blood left on the ground and no footprints. In Colorado's Morgan County area, there has also been reports that a helicopter was used by those who mutilated the carcasses of the cattle, and several persons have reported being chased by a similar helicopter. Because I am gravely concerned by the situation, I am asking that the Federal Bureau of Investigation enter the case. Although the CBI has been investigating the incidents and local officials also have been involved, the lack of a central unified direction has frustrated the investigation. It seems to have progressed little, except for the recognition at long last that the incidents must be taken seriously. Now it appears that the ranchers are arming themselves to protect their livestock as well as their families and themselves because they are frustrated by the unsuccessful investigation. Clearly something must be done before someone gets hurt. Now, this was especially concerning because it's at least 130 cases in Colorado alone, but across 2 years in 9 states, and that people are being chased by a helicopter, that the people doing these things are using helicopters, and that for some reason they're taking the left ear and left eye as opposed to both ears and both eyes. I'm not sure why it's always the left ear and left eye, apart from and then all the other specific things that they're extracting. The fact that allegations have been made of the loss of livestock in 21 states under similar circumstances strongly suggests the very real possibility that the crossing of state lines is involved, and this alone, I feel, should justify the participation of the FBI in this case. I urge you to begin your investigation as soon as possible and to contact my office to discuss in more detail the incidents I have described. We stand ready to give you all possible assistance. Sincerely, Floyd K. Haskell, United States Senator. He makes a very good case. I don't know why they refuse. And then this one has miscellaneous non-subversive handwritten on the margin. Dated October 14th, 1976, memorandum to Director FBI from SAC Springfield and RE Springfield Airtel to Bureau, dated October 1st, 76. Enclosed for the Bureau is one copy of an article entitled The Mutilation Mystery, which allegedly appeared in We magazine, September 1976 issue. For the information of the Bureau, Sheriff Russell Cruz, Marshall County, Illinois, Sheriff's Department, Lacon, Illinois, on September 30th, 1976, furnished enclosed article to S.A. Donald R. Sorensen, since it pertains to widespread incidents such as those set forth in reference to Airtel. This is furnished To the Bureau, in view of numerous references in this article to federal investigative agencies and also theories that these mutilations of cattle are only a forerunner for later mutilations of human beings.
Okay, so now that you've heard all of that, this is what I think is going on here. I think that UFOs thing is kind of outlandish. And plus, they even call them helicopters. They were probably helicopters. I think that if this did happen, because that's another thing, is this could just be a completely fabricated spiel put out by like the CIA just to cause confusion, because that's their whole thing, right? The CIA is counterintelligence. That doesn't mean that they just cover up stuff. It means they make up stuff. It's like the center of confusion. It's just they are the veil, okay? They are just creating confusion to make sure that nobody can rise up against anything that they want to do, okay? So that's all that is. So I think that's what this is. I think it's just making you scared to go out at night. That's the whole point of this thing. And they're trying to... The other idea is that maybe they did have people going around in helicopters harvesting anuses. I don't know why they would. But maybe they were doing something with that. I don't know. Maybe somebody wanted a little anus trophy. I don't know. They wanted a collection. They wanted to put it on the mantle, a bunch of asses and genitals. Who knows what the rich people are into? That might be the thing. Some people collect amigos. Other people collect vaginas. You know, it's whatever. And then, so that might be it. But I don't think it's the aliens. I really don't think it's aliens. The only thing that going for the alien theory is the fact that it's happening in Brazil too. But rich people travel and they have jets. So I think it's some freaking weirdo government guy who was like, you know what? I want a collection of eyeballs, ears, and asses. And that's what they did. So that might be that thing. What do you think? Leave a comment. I don't know what is. Obviously nobody knows, but it'd be interesting to hear what other people think. So yeah, tell me, and hang on to your asses.